acara dimulai, akan kami bacakan susunan acara pada hari ini. Yang pertama adalah pembukaan, dilanjutkan dengan sambutan, kemudian MIP Seminar Public Series, Q&A, dan terakhir adalah penutup. Perkenalkan, saya Novidiana Fauzi yang akan memandu acara pada kesempatan kali ini. Acara pertama adalah pembukaan, marilah acara ini kita buka bersama dengan basmalah. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Dilanjutkan dengan sambutan Ketua Panitia. Kepada Ibu Safiratul Khair kami persilahkan.
Terima kasih Mbak Novi atas kesempatan. Selamat pagi kawan-kawan semua. Maaf suara saya jelas deh. Oke. Selamat pagi kawan-kawan semua. Salam sejahtera, salam sehat selalu. Matur nuwun sangat, terima kasih banget atas kehadirannya untuk acara kita pada pagi yang cerah ini. Peserta terdaftar sudah lebih dari 100, terbukti dengan semangatnya yang luar biasa. Perkenalkan, saya Safira, mewakili teman-teman panitia di sini yang telah bekerja keras. Mohon izin untuk menyampaikan sepatah dua patah kata. Seperti tadi disampaikan bahwa acara ini terselenggara atas kerjasama S2 MIP dengan perpustakaan UGM. Kemudian jadi ini kami semua bekerja keras dan bekerja sama agar bisa membuat sesuatu yang luar biasa dan memberikan nutrisi di tengah kondisi yang seperti ini. Matur nuwun sangat pihak MIP, Pak Juni Prihatin atas nama pengelola, kemudian Pak Lasa, Kepala Perpustakaan UMY. Semoga kerjasama yang sudah terjalin ini bisa terus berjalan hingga nanti. Teman-teman yang baik, jadi tema Zoominar kita kali ini adalah COVID-19, Best Practices and the Future of Library Services. Jadi bulan Oktober lalu kita juga sudah mengadakan acara semacam ini dengan membahas topik lain yaitu Library as Therapeutic Places. Pesertanya juga banyak dan antusias sekali. Oke, pada pagi hari ini kita beruntung sekali kita mempunyai 3 pembicara kelas dunia. John Hickok, good morning. I'm not so sure that he is here already, tetapi John Hickok akan ada bersama kita.
Yes,
John
I'm
Hickok.
here.
Hi, nice to meet you again. Oh,
that's
great.
okay. You continue in Bahasa Indonesia. I'm learning.
Okay, well that's good. Okay, terima kasih. Nice to meet you again. Although this time we meet online, so glad to know that you are doing very well. Thank you so much for coming and sharing with us today. Jadi John ini bekerja di California State University di Amerika. So John is very great, and then like his concern is on best practices on library services in South Asian countries. Luar biasa sekali. Next one is kita akan punya Dr. Rasidah Haji Polkiah. Selamat pagi, Dr. Rasidah. Okay, thank you so much also for joining us today. Rasidah ini adalah CEO dari Sarawak Public Library di Malaysia. Jadi akan exciting sekali today untuk mendengar insight tentang future library services. Kemudian speaker kita berikutnya adalah someone yang kita semua sudah paham sekali, yang mungkin tidak perlu saya perkenalkan lebih jauh. Jadi apalah dunia perpustakaan kita ya tanpa beliau. Matur nuwun sangat Pak Ida sudah berkenan berbagi untuk kita hari ini. Dan tak kalah pentingnya MC dan moderator kita, Mbak Novidiana Fauzi dari UMY. Beliau ini salah satu alumni MIP yang kiprahnya di dunia perpustakaan sudah luar biasa sekali. Jadi terima kasih Mbak Novi sudah akan memandu acara kita pada pagi hari ini. Okay, selain itu hari ini kita juga akan mengumumkan sesuatu yang penting. Jadi hari ini adalah hari penting untuk kita semua karena kita akan hari ini meresmikan memiliki satu ikatan alumni yang bernama Komunitas Keagama MIP yang akan kita resmikan. Jadi akan kita sekarang punya satu keluarga yang resmi yang untuk tahun ke depan dipimpin oleh Mbak Lili, alumni MIP yang networknya sangat luas. Nanti akan dijelaskan lebih lanjut setelah ini. Baik, saya kira cukup dari saya. Saya mengucapkan selamat mengikuti, terima kasih atas antusiasmenya. Saya yakin sekali bahwa hari ini kita akan punya banyak ide. Terima kasih dan sukses untuk panitia MIP yang sudah mengerjakan proyek ini dengan luar biasa, sambil nulis proposal, sambil nulis tesis, tapi tetap bisa mengadakan acara seberkualitas ini. Oke, terima kasih. Salam sejahtera untuk kita semuanya. Selamat pagi, selamat mengikuti. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Terima kasih Mbak Fira. Bapak Ibu yang berbahagia, acara kedua yaitu sambutan kedua dari Ketua Program Manajemen Informasi dan Perpustakaan Sekolah Pascasarjana UGM. Kepada Bapak Juni Prihatin kami persilahkan.
Baik, terima kasih Mbak Novi. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Selamat pagi dan salam sejahtera dan selamat datang Bapak-Bapak dan Ibu-Ibu serta saudara-saudara peserta seminar internasional COVID-19 Best Practices and the Future of Library Services. Dan yang kami hormati Mr. John Hickok, Mrs. Rasida Haji Bohasan, Mr. Ida Fajar Prianto selaku pembicara webinar, dan Mbak Novi Dianovosi selaku moderator yang telah berkenan untuk bergabung dan membahas topik pandemi Covid-19 yang saat ini tengah dan masih melanda di Indonesia. Dan semoga pembahasan topik ini dapat memberikan kontribusi yang positif bagi para pustakawan dalam memberikan sumbangsi informasi dan layanan bagi masyarakat akademik maupun masyarakat pada umumnya. Kami juga berterima kasih pada para mahasiswa dan Mbak Novi selaku perwakilan dari UMY yang telah berupaya menyelenggarakan acara webinar ini. Semoga bermanfaat bagi kita semua. Pada kesempatan ini pula, saya mengapresiasi atas terbentuknya pengurus alumni Magister Informasi dan Perpustakaan periode 2020-2023 yang diketuai oleh Ibu Lili Kurniawati Uswah dan kawan-kawan. Untuk lebih lengkapnya, pengurus akan disampaikan oleh moderator. Semoga ke depan kerjasama dengan alumni senantiasa terjalin untuk mengembangkan program studi Magister Informasi dan Perpustakaan. Akhirnya, selamat berwebinar dan terima kasih. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Bapak Ibu yang berbahagia, selanjutnya akan kami sampaikan kepengurusan Kagama MIP kepada Mas Haikal. Tolong bisa di-share screen-nya. Bapak Ibu, kami akan perkenalkan kepengurusan Kagama. Jadi ini terbentuk baru saja dan belum dilantik oleh Kagama, tapi pada kesempatan yang sangat berbahagia ini kami akan bagikan kepada Anda semua pengurus Kagama MIP 2020-2023, semoga membawa manfaat untuk dunia informasi dan kepustakawanan Indonesia dan juga dunia. Yang pertama adalah pembina, yaitu Bapak Ida Fajar Prianto. Yang berikutnya adalah Bapak Silverius Juni Prihatin, beliau juga pembina dan saat ini menjadi Ketua Program Magister Informasi dan Perpustakaan UGM. Yang ketiga, Mbak cantik kita, Mbak Safirotul Khoir adalah sebagai pembinanya. Oke, kemudian Ketua Kagama MIP 2020-2023 adalah Lili Kurniawati Uswah. Maaf ya Mbak Ketua ya, dari angkatan 2002. Selanjutnya adalah Dwi Fitrina Cahya dari 2016 sebagai sekretaris. Nadirotus Sariroh sebagai bendahara dari angkatan 2010. Purwani Istiana, Ketua Divisi Litbang dan Kajian Isu Terkini. Berikutnya adalah Nurmaya Prihatmaja tahun 2008, anggota Divisi Litbang dan Kajian Isu Terkini. Yang selanjutnya anggota Divisi Litbang dan Kajian Isu Terkini lagi, yaitu Lis Setiawati dari angkatan 2011. Ketua Divisi Organisasi dan Keanggotaan yaitu Bapak Vincentius Widya Iswara dari Angkatan 2015. Anggotanya adalah Bapak Murad Maulana dari Angkatan 2015. Anggotanya lagi dari Divisi Anggota dan Organisasi dan Keanggotaan adalah Bapak Agung Pambudi dari Angkatan 2009. Ketua Divisi Penggalangan Dana dan Pengembangan Usaha adalah Kurniasi Juni Pratiwi dari Angkatan 2016. Kemudian anggotanya juga dari Angkatan 2016 adalah Fitria Rizka. Anggota dari divisi ini yang berikutnya adalah Resti Laras GP dari Angkatan 2015. Bapak Suharyanto dari Angkatan 2005 adalah Ketua Divisi Kerjasama dan Hubungan Antar Lembaga. Anggotanya adalah ada 2 orang, Ibu Ida Mariani Pasaribu, maaf Ibu, dari Angkatan 2013. Kemudian Bapak Budi Kusuma Wardani dari Angkatan 2005 juga anggota dari Divisi Kerjasama dan Hubungan Antar Lembaga. Selanjutnya adalah Novi Diana Fauzi dari Angkatan 2012 sebagai Ketua Divisi Pengabdian Masyarakat dengan 2 anggotanya yaitu Nur Listiani juga dari 2012 dan Surya Adi Sasmita dari Angkatan 2012. Nah, Bapak Ibu, demikian tadi pengenalan pengurus Kagama MIP tahun 2020 hingga 2023. Mohon doanya agar kami dapat melaksanakan tugas dengan baik dan amanah ini dapat kami emban untuk kemajuan dunia informasi dan kepustakawanan Indonesia dan juga dunia. Terima kasih. Ini adalah perkenalannya. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang berbahagia, memasuki acara inti dari MIP seminar kita pada kesempatan kali ini adalah MIP seminar tentu saja ya. MIP seminar public series yang mengangkat tema COVID-19, Best Practice dan Future of the Library Services. Dan bersama kita sudah ada 3 pembicara. Tentu saja Anda sudah menunggu dan tadi sudah sempat dikenalkan oleh Mbak Vira. Bapak Ibu, di masa pandemi COVID-19 ini layanan perpustakaan beralih kegiatan online. Mayoritas begitu ya. Perpustakaan harus segera menyesuaikan diri dengan sangat cepat dan kita pustakawan dan pengelola perpustakaan harus segera memperluas kapasitas diri kita untuk perubahan tersebut. Dulu jumlah kunjungan menjadi sesuatu yang paling utama ya, seolah-olah begitu. Penyediaan ruangan yang besar yang nyaman juga menjadi sesuatu yang keharusan. Kapasitas internet yang tinggi juga diwajibkan. Komputer akses juga tidak ada yang tidak menyiapkan. COVID-19 ternyata merubah kehidupan perpustakaan dan pustakawan pengelola perpustakaan secara dramatis. Dan pada kesempatan kali ini kita telah menghadirkan 3 narasumber yang luar biasa yang akan berbagi bersama kita. Narasumber pertama kita adalah Bapak John Hickok dari California State University. Mr. Hickok akan menyampaikan The Asian Libraries and American Ones. Kemudian narasumber kedua kita adalah Puan Rasida Hajibul Hasan. Beliau adalah CEO dari Sarawak Public Library. Puan Rasida akan menyampaikan How to Cope with Pandemic and the Future of the Library Services. Dan narasumber kita yang ketiga adalah Bapak Ida Fajar Prianto, dosen dari MIP UGM, yang akan menyampaikan tentang the Indonesian Libraries and their future. Ya, untuk Bapak Ibu peserta, apabila nanti akan ada pertanyaan dapat dituliskan dalam Zoom room chat ya yang tersedia dan akan kami buka setelah presentasi dari Bapak John Hickok selesai. Tapi Q&A akan kita laksanakan setelah presentasi dari 3 narasumber kita selesaikan gitu ya. Bapak Ibu, narasumber pertama kita adalah Bapak John Hickok. Ya, Beliau sekarang ini sebagai library faculty di California State University Fullerton dengan spesialisasi International Outreach Librarian dan TESOL Librarian. Kemudian beliau juga TESOL ESL Faculty di California State University Fullerton juga. Ya, beliau ini spesialis untuk teacher trainer of graduate TESOL student. Bapak Ibu, beliau lulus dari MA TESOL California State University dan tahun 2001 dan di tahun 95 dari Magister Library Information Science di University of California Los Angeles. Kemudian beliau pada tahun 2018 profiled in American Libraries Magazine, photo and article on international library effort in American Libraries National Magazine. Saya ada linknya, Bapak Ibu bisa cek di Google apa saja kiprah beliau gitu ya. Kemudian di tahun 2016 beliau mendapatkan US Fulbright Scholar sebagai guest list instructor 3 kelas di Philippines. Itu juga ada linknya, bisa dicek nanti lewat Google ya. Kemudian book chapter beliau yang baru terbit di tahun 2020 dengan judul The Changing Curricula of List Education in Southeast Asia in Internationalization of Library and Information Science Education in the Asia Pacific Region. Kemudian di tahun 2019 buku beliau adalah tentang Serving Library Users from Asia, The Comprehensive Handbook of Country-Specific Information and Outreach Resources. Ya. Kemudian saya bacakan sedikit lagi presentasi beliau yang terakhir adalah New Innovation in US Libraries di Manila. Kemudian 2019 paper beliau tentang Asian Library Serving Users from Other ASEAN Countries dalam International Conference on Library and Information Science di Taipei, Taiwan. Ya. Dan sekarang ini beliau adalah ketua dari ACRL International Perspective Discussion Group. Bapak Ibu, beliau berkiprah di dunia perpustakaan sudah 25 tahun. Jadi yang saya bacakan tadi hanya yang terbaru saja dan luar biasa. Saya yakin kalau kita membacakan mungkin lebih dari 25 halaman ya kiprah beliau. Dan Bapak Ibu, Mr. John Hickok, are you ready right now? Hello? Mr. John Hickok? Hello.
Yes, I had to unmute myself.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Good evening, Mr. Hickok.
Hello,
How are
hello.
you doing?
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, good evening for me and salamat pagi for you.
Okay, yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let me give 25 minutes to our first speaker, Mr. John Hickok, all the way from California. Mr. Hickok, floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Okay, let's test the audio. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, John.
Good.
Okay. Yeah.
Yes, please. Anytime, if there's any technical problems, you cannot hear me, please speak up or get my attention so I can know. Well, hello, everyone. Wow, we have almost 90 library colleagues with me today. So, salamat pagi to all of you. Hello. I'm going to take Novi. I'm going to take control. I do share screen, okay?
Okay. Yes, please.
Okay. So I will do that now. Last year, I was at Yogyakarta at UGM. So here I am. You can see the photo, yes? Okay. So here I am, and there's Ida, and there's many of the rest of you here also. When I presented at Gajah Mada 1 year ago, I hoped I could come in person again now, but of course, COVID pandemic, no, not possible for anywhere in the world. So here we are on Zoom instead. Okay, no problem. I have a wonderful presentation I would like to share with you. So I will share that now. And here we go. Okay, Novi, can you nod your head? Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, thank you. Okay, so here we go. Can you see full screen now?
Yes.
Okay, great, thank you. Okay, everybody. So as you can see here, my presentation, I'm gonna discuss some of the best practices that I've found in both the US and also Asia. Give you a showcase of really innovative services that I have found. So let me explain. Now, last year, some of you students at Gajah Mada remember my presentation. My presentation today is a expound or a growth of that presentation. So for you students, some of the slides will be the same, but I have updated with even more, bigger and better. So I just want to tell the students from last year, you'll see some of the same, but more. Okay, background on me. So I am from California. So as you can see here in California, there's many state universities in California. My campus is here. It's Fullerton. That's the name of the city of my California State University. What do I do? Well, I am the international outreach librarian. So I work with all of the international students, mostly from Asia, China, Korea, Indonesia, Malaysia, Vietnam, in teaching them information literacy. I also am an international trainer. I train librarians all over, mostly Asia, because that's my specialization. I just came back from a training conference in the Philippines in March, just before COVID. I'm also an officer in the American Library Association. I was the chair of the International Relations of ALA. And I'm also an instructor, a library information science instructor. In 2016, I had a wonderful opportunity of living in the Philippines for a half year, teaching LIS to 2 different universities there in the Philippines. These were my students, as you can see here. So today, I want to talk to you about best practices, both US and Asia. So my specialization is Asia. I have been to every country in Asia, from Mongolia to Korea, China, Myanmar, and of course, Indonesia, visiting libraries, or I should say perpustakaan. Over 1,000 libraries I visited all over Asia. These are many of the many librarians that I visited. This is a long ago picture of Ida. You can see with me and Ida from 2005. So 15 years ago, I have known Ida for many, many years. He's a great librarian. And I last year, published all of my research on Asian libraries, on serving library users from Asia. So this is the book that I just published. So it's not only Asia that I've been documenting, but also many libraries all over the United States on their best practices. So before I begin showing you examples, I want to give a disclaimer. All of the best practice examples that I'm going to be showing you here are intended to inspire you to make achievements with whatever resources you have available. My intention today is not for you to feel discouraged if you don't have the same resources. Look, let's be honest. All libraries have different budgets, right? Some libraries have very small budgets. Some libraries that I visited in Korea, South Korea, or Japan, or Singapore have very big budgets. So it can be very easy for us to get discouraged, like, This is so depressing. All these wonderful libraries are doing wonderful things, but we cannot do these because we don't have the budget or we don't have the resources. That's not the purpose of my presentation. My purpose is look at these examples and then think in your situation, okay, what can we do similar with what resources we have? Okay, so my library does not have the same budget as Hong Kong University. Hong Kong University is very rich, and they have a lot more money and resources than even my library. So I've been to Hong Kong University and I'm like, wow, this is so great. And sometimes I'm like, oh, I wish my library had this money, but that's not healthy. What I did is I went home to my library and said, okay, Hong Kong Library has this and this and this. What can I do with my budget in my library similar to try and do the similar things? Not exactly the same, because I don't have that millions of dollars. So that's my disclaimer. Don't be discouraged, be inspired on what you can do within your budget. Okay? All right, great. So let's talk about 7 different categories of best practices. These are the 7 different categories I'm going to share with you. All of these, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So here we go. Number 1, let's talk about information commons. So in the United States, information commons is exploding in popularity. The old concept of shelves of books and shelves of books, we are changing that to now have open learning spaces. You saw there, Northwestern University in Chicago has took out a lot of shelves and put in group study spaces. Ohio University took out a lobby of lockers that they weren't using and put in a cafe for students to do coffee and a group chat. Northeastern University in Massachusetts built their information commons in the former circulation checkout area. So they built and knocked out the walls and put in new learning space. It's not only academic libraries I'm going to explain today, but I'm also going to give you examples from public libraries too. This is a public library in the state of New Mexico, not the country Mexico, it's a US state, New Mexico, near Texas. So this is an open area they did. Also a public library in Ohio. Wow, look at the natural lighting. They used to have dark walls with small windows, and they rebuilt the windows with natural lighting. Here's another one in Minnesota. Wide open spaces and natural large windows for more open information commons space. Same, a library in Illinois with more furniture, which is soft, open group seating furniture. Los Angeles Public Library, which is near me, Fullerton is near Los Angeles, California, has group space. This is the youth cyberspace for the information commons for the youth to not only use the computers, but be in groups where they can work together. This is a fun one. This is a public library in Virginia. Now, as you can see here, they have some shelves of children's books, but on the wall, they have some seating that's inside the wall. This little girl is reading a book inside the wall. They are like beans, the shape of a bean in the wall, in the wall, in the wall. Very, very interesting. Also, public libraries for their information commons are making makerspace. Whoops. Makerspace for the library users to make things on the equipment. So make toys, make tools, make things using the equipment. This is an example of how libraries are transforming, changing from only being a place of books to being a place of services. Here is a school library that also has made more open space. Now, what about in Asia? Sure, we have examples from Asia. This is Singapore, where you took out rows of books and put in more colorful group study spaces. The Philippines Engineering Library did a whole repainting of their information commons. But do you see this mural? This isn't just painted by some painter. This was painted by the students. The engineering library had a contest for the students to design the mural or painting on the walls. And then the contest winner was their design. This is the students' design for the walls. This is a great way to get students and your library users involved and excited about their library. Here's another example from Thailand. And another one, children's information commons, and then one from Malaysia also, the Sarawak State Library, their children's section. Okay, how about number 2, mobile phone technology? What can we do with mobile phone technology? Well, in the United States, libraries are doing amazing things. They are using QR codes a lot for students on their mobile phone to watch instant videos or tutorials about the library. So everywhere, this is on the San Diego State University's library webpage. The Yale University is using the mobile phones for text messages from librarians to library users. That's nothing new, but they are using it for instant communication with librarians. Especially now, during COVID, they are communicating with students at home. New York City Public Library is doing amazing things on their mobile phones. 300,000 ebooks for New York City Public Library users to borrow and instantly read on their mobile phones, especially now because of the pandemic. Seattle Public Library does a free cell phone tour of the library. Yes, on their mobile phone, they can click different levels of the library and take a video tour on their cell phone of the library. Now, right now, of course, the library is closed for in-person, but they can still take a video tour and see video ebooks. So they can use the library virtually. San Francisco Public Library on their mobile phone has maps, interactive maps of where all the branches are. So here's the main branch of the San Francisco Public Library. And all of these red dots are the branches of San Francisco Public Library. So you can go and use the app, the San Francisco Public Library app, to check out your books, see what your holds you have, when your due dates are, and a branch that you can go pick up or return your books to. They also have a universal return. So let's say you check out a book at this branch, and then later you're visiting your friend at this branch, you can return the book there also. It doesn't matter, it's universal book return. Louisiana, they are a public library, are doing text to librarian. So you can text a librarian, they have a text message instant code. and can go straight to the librarian and get assistance or help on working with the e-materials, e-books or such. Brooklyn in New York is also doing the same thing, many different things, e-books, browse the catalog, get help from librarians. You see, librarians are all taking shifts, like 1 to 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock to 4 o'clock, 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock. They're all monitoring the chat window to assist library users 24 hours a day in some cases. Some libraries are doing 24 hours a day. Here's another one from Connecticut, where you can tap on any of these and begin reading ebooks and audiobooks on your phone immediately. Now, it's not only in the US, in Asia. So here's an example of the QR code being used by Bangkok University in Thailand. Here's an example of Nanyang Technological University, NTU, in Singapore, where students can search the online catalog and then send the location and call numbers to their mobile phones. Before the COVID, they could then use their mobile phone GPS to then use to find the books and the shelf locations, because they had the QR code and the labels, UPC labels on all of the books, to be able to find their books using their phone as almost like a beep, 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 beep GPS device. Very amazing. Number 3, videos and tutorials. Okay, what are libraries doing in America? Lots of great things. Here's an example from the University of Arkansas. They have a tutorial on helping students write research papers. They can click and start playing the tutorial right away. How about video tours? Yes, this library, public library in Texas, has a video tour. Now, guess what? I'm gonna play the video tour for you. Now, Novi, I need you to help me out. I'm gonna play the tour, and Novi, I need you to nod your head yes if you can hear the audio on the tour, okay?
Okay.
If you cannot hear it, give me a no so I know. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, here we go. Let's play this tour. Okay, you cannot hear any audio, Novi?
Yes. No. I cannot hear the audio.
Okay, let me try just a moment. I'm gonna try to increase my sound. All right. And okay, Novi, I'm going to try one more time. Here we go.
Okay. Yes, please. Still cannot hear. Oh, yes. Okay. Yes. But the video we cannot. Okay. Okay. Right now.
To take advantage of the library's programs. There's a wide array of programming for all age groups, from baby rhyme time for toddlers and reading recess for children to game nights for teens and loteria for adults. With a variety of free events available on a daily basis, the library has become a social hub for the community. Applying for a...
Okay, so I'll stop there. There's other tours too. The St. Paul Public Library in Minnesota has a tutoring center, and I'm going to play that for you now.
The Homework Center provides a space. It's a safe space. We're a welcoming environment who provides everything from basic tables to camaraderie to tutoring. We help them do their homework and help them get to a point where they can complete their homework. But we also have a number of volunteers who come. It's really people who care about their communities. And we have a lot of adult learners who come in who are studying for GED or...
Okay, so that's an example of tutoring. Now this one is one of my favorites because it's from Los Angeles Public Library, and the librarians made a music video that is on their website. I think you will recognize this song. This is a very, very fun video. So take a listen.
It might seem crazy what I'm about to say. Some flashes here you can take away. Hot air balloon that could go to space. I don't care, baby, by the way. Because I'm happy. Come along if you feel like a room without a roof. Because I'm happy. Come along.
All right, so that's a very happy video. And there's many more videos and tours. Now, the nice thing about videos is they're so easy to make nowadays. You can use your camera phone to record a video and upload it to YouTube. And that's exactly what libraries are doing. For example, here in Brunei, the University of Brunei has uploaded training videos for their library onto YouTube. The same thing with De La Salle University in the Philippines has uploaded tutorial videos. And this video from Ramkangkang University in Thailand. So these are all really good examples of using videos in libraries. All right, I need to hurry because I'm going to run out of time. So let's go on to number 4. Virtual collections. Yes, libraries are uploading and creating virtual collections. The University of Texas has a map collection of thousands and thousands of maps that are all digitized online. The Los Angeles Public Library has thousands of photos in their archive online. Same with Birmingham, Alabama, their historical photos. And San Diego Public Library has a digital archive. Same in Massachusetts, so many more. But it's not only in America. Right here in Indonesia, your very own Petra Christian University has a wonderful digital archive of the Surabaya Memory Project of historical photos and history of Surabaya. Singapore has virtual collections of newspapers, and Thailand has their TK Park, which is online collections of music, videos, ebooks, everything that is available to Thai citizens all over the country. Now we come to number 5, library space planning. Sure, your library, once we all return to our library after COVID, you might want to make some changes. Libraries do. This is a University of South Florida that got rid of their old space in their library where they had like some more shelves or some storage and put in a Starbucks inside their library. The University of Chicago dramatically changed the old to a brand new, more colorful. Same with this school library in California. This is the old and this is the new. Now, did this cost a lot of money? Not really. All they did is they did some painting to change to orange and blue. So they painted the walls and put in some new blue carpet to get rid of the old kind of ugly library. What a difference, huh? Malaysia has done space planning. The students wanted 24-hour library, but they couldn't do that because it was too expensive to keep the whole library open. So they opened just the lobby only. This is the lobby open for 24 hours study for students at the university in Sarawak in Malaysia. Same with Vietnam. They created got rid of old, boring tables and shelves and put in new group computer study tables. And this library, public library in the Philippines, created a conference room in their library. This is their library. And instead of just more shelves, they made a conference room for group community meetings and movie nights and other purposes, many more services. All right, now we come to a great one. Number 6, we're almost done, 2 more, number 6 and number 7. Reference, yes, librarians, because of COVID now in America, are really increasing their reference ability through virtual, by texting a librarian, by emailing a librarian, by phoning a librarian. All of these are now available. At Fullerton College, they are now connecting to students in group computer networks where they can have, just like you're doing today by Zoom, they can connect students from all over at home for group library instruction. Before COVID, this library in Colorado was actually going out to the farmers. The farmers needed library services, but couldn't come to the library. So the librarians went to the farmers. That's very, very good. More more roving librarians. Now, this librarian right here, before the pandemic, took her, see this strap right here? She took this strap around her neck and her laptop and would wander around the library, helping students in person instead of just sitting at a desk all day. Very, very good service. And then of course, the instant messaging, texting of librarians. This is another one at Brunei. Here's another one at Malaysia, where they are doing outreach of information literacy classes. And even in Cambodia, the Royal University of Phnom Penh is offering information literacy classes to all incoming freshman students, required. This is amazing because information literacy skills are so important. All right, now let's get to the last and the fun one. Okay, and I know I'm almost out of time, so I will make this fast. All right, here we go. Marketing. There's so many ways to market, and this is a fun thing for libraries. At the Michigan State University, they did marketing with dogs. Yes, service dogs. So the students were very stressed out because of final examinations. So every week, the library would provide free donuts or free photos or free pets. So to show you a quick example of the pets, this is a news report.
MSU experts say that these four-legged therapists can actually help students get through exams and stay healthy.
We know that dogs can be really, really calming. So when you're stressed out, you sit down with the dog, we know that your heartbeat actually goes down.
He said taking a short break like this is the right way to study, giving students a chance to relax during such a pressure-packed time.
You look at them and they're just so adorable. You're like, this is so nice. Like, I just feel better. I definitely feel lifted.
MSU also handed out care packs to fight the flu so they can make it through this home stretch healthy and revitalized.
Okay. So they, that's another marketing outreach to get students to come in the library, all kinds of things. Librarians wear funny costumes on holidays. Librarians will take photos of students and then make read posters on the walls of those students. It's another marketing. Libraries will make music videos involving the students. This is a music video that a school library made. So as you can see, the students were recording a music video of the librarian there. So they filmed a music video and then got the students excited about the library. But it's not only America. Here in Asia, many Philippine librarians have done marketing with shirts and buttons and bookmarks. Thailand has done a podcast of library that the students run. They also do marketing fairs outside the library. And Singapore even gives out free pizza coupons for students who will tell a friend and borrow a number of books together. That's pretty popular. And in Thailand, they also make music videos of students finding romance in the library. So all kinds of things, including in Vietnam on public reading days. For children, they do comic books in Singapore, promoting the library. And they do storytelling festivals in Malaysia to get the public to come to the library. And in Philippines, the librarian will even give toys to children if they read a certain number of books at the end of each month. And the children can pick the toys they want from a toy box to keep. So there you go, 7 different categories, dozens of different libraries, and they all have the common, excellent best practices. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Hiko. It is very, very interesting. Bapak Ibu, kita berasa jalan-jalan ya. Jalan-jalan ke perpustakaan yang luar biasa bagus sekali yang sudah disampaikan oleh Bapak John Hiko tadi. Ya, habis jalan-jalan dari seluruh negara di dunia, kita akan coba jalan-jalan ke Malaysia, ke Sarawak ya. Jadi Bapak Ibu, pembicara kedua kita adalah Puan Rasidah Haji Bol Hasan. Beliau adalah CEO dari Sarawak Public Library dan beliau saat ini adalah Ketua Persatuan Pustakawan Malaysia. PhD beliau selesaikan dari New Zealand di jurusan Library dan Informasi Sciences tentu saja. Ya, Bapak Ibu, Puan Rasidah, apakah Puan sudah siap? Are you ready?
Yes, I'm here, Novi. Terima kasih.
Oke, terima
Ya,
kasih.
boleh dengar saya?
Iya, 20 menit, Puan. Oke, bisa dimulai dari sekarang. Ya.
Terima kasih banyak. Pertama sekali saya ingin ucapkan terima kasih kerana menjemput saya. Pak Ida, thank you so much for this. Sebenarnya we have been planning to have a meeting physically also in Gajah Mada, but as the situation now tak membenarkan. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum. Selamat pagi kepada semua. I am very honoured to be invited to this session, and I would also like to congratulate the organising committee for this wonderful webinar. Yeah. Now I try to share my screen. Allow me. Okay, my desktop. This is the first time I'm sharing screens. Normally, apa tu? Now what do I do? Sekejap ya. Can you see my screen here?
Yes.
Boleh nampak ya screen saya? Okay.
Nampak.
Tajuk saya pada hari ini adalah library services in coping with the pandemic. Ini adalah cerita saya daripada Sarawak. Stories from Sarawak. If before this kita dengar daripada John. Hi John, nice to meet you online John. Last time we met was in Manila last year.
Yes, and we were supposed to present again also, but the pandemic.
Yeah. John have brought us all over the world, literally. But I would just bring everyone to Sarawak, which is not far from wherever you are. So, oops. Okay, now let me try to. Oh, okay. Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan mesti tertanya-tanya di manakah Sarawak. Sarawak adalah sebahagian daripada Malaysia. We're part of Malaysia. We are a neighbor to Kalimantan, not far from here. It's just about 40 minutes flight to Pontianak. And Sarawak, as everybody knows, we are the biggest in Malaysia. The size is almost the same as Peninsular Malaysia, minus Perlis. Yeah. So from one place to another place, we have to be flying for example, from Kuching to Cebu, you have to fly about 40 minutes, or from Kuching to Miri is another 40 minutes of flight. Kalau ambil jalan, if you want to take the road, it would take you several hours. And if you want to go to Miri, it would be kind of an overnight. So that's how it is, okay? Now, during the pandemic, the library have to be closed as everyone else. We were closed, but our services have to be continued, and we have to still deliver our services. Now, this is our stories. I'll start with an introduction. Actually, these are the outline of my presentation this morning. I'll touch about how a little bit of our services, and all the while we see how things are being shared. But the most important thing is the human resource behind the things that happen when we are under total lockdown, and how did we enable it, okay? Now, as an introduction, terima kasih Pak Novi, you introduced me. I am currently the CEO, and I used to be the chair for the Malaysian Council of State Library Directors until just recently. And I'm currently the president of the Librarians Association. In IFLA, I'm contributing as a member of the IFLA Literacy and Reading section, and I'm a corresponding member of IFLA Indigenous Methods section, amongst other things. Yeah. Now, this is our building. This is our main campus in Kuching. We call ourselves campuses. This is how it looks like. I just want to kind of break the monotony of our words in my presentation. We are set in a park of 100 acres. So saya jaga bukan sahaja buku di dalam perpustakaan atau the information resources, saya juga jaga pokok-pokok di keliling perpustakaan kami. This is one of the main features of the building. I think we might be able to claim ourselves as the only library in the world to have glass staircase. This is our Miri campus, our building in Miri campus, a library. Now, this building was not really designed as a library, but it was initially designed as a museum. But they want to have one part of it to have a library. So our board of management say, either you have the whole building as a library, or you don't have any library at all. So the authorities that was given us this building to operate as a library. The main feature that we have inside here is an inner courtyard, an inner garden courtyard, which is planted with scented flowers. And so just to, again, break the monotony of the ordinary kind of library designs that we normally would have. Now, this is a very good relaxation place. Amat wangi ya, ibu-ibu, bapa-bapa kalau di sini, because kita tanamkan dengan bunga-bunga yang ada wangi, dan to break the monotony of your studies, for example, as what John mentioned just now, some of the libraries have different type of ways to break just being a library, but to become a social and community hub. This is our repository. Now, for the information of everyone, we function as a state library, as well as an archive and a repository. So this one is, the design is not for public, but it is for storage of our archive, our records, and also other materials like paintings. This is our latest. This is in the central zone of Kuching in Cebu. We've just launched this one officially in October this year. And this is the latest building that we have. And we use a lot of glasses here to kind of get as much natural lighting as possible. Now, this library building have a very limited budget. So it is really just a library. We do not have an auditorium like our other two campuses, or gallery, for example, but they are meeting rooms. And this is part of the internal of the library. We have media area as well as books. As you can see, we have walls in there, glass walls, so that it breaks the monotony of solid walls. Okay. Now, in terms of practices during the COVID, I'm just focusing on COVID. Besides all the other things like before the pre-COVID time, we do have our resources online, we do promotion online and all that. But during COVID, that was really a testing time for all of us because we have to work from home. It's not a holiday. When things have been closed down, we have to work. So it is very unprecedented. It has never been experienced before. Okay. There is a fire alarm, but it's okay. I'll just continue. The thing is, we have to be very, very agile and being disruptive because our services were interrupted and all that by COVID. But we were still required to work. But just to share with you, what were the services that we shared with people? Oh, sorry. This is one of our, because people cannot come, neither can we allow them to come to the library. So we benchmark with Grab, we benchmark with Food Panda. I mean, this is one of the things going on at the moment. So we created a book bear service. This book bear service mainly was, you can go to our online public catalog, choose the books that you want and send us an email, or we have an application that you can send to us. Then we will send the books to you, just like the Food Panda or using Grab, or it's an Uber service for delivering books to the people. And this is how it is. How do you borrow the books online, you deliver it to your home. Now, when they want to return, every time we would tell them when they want to return. They can return either you are getting this service provider to send the books to us, or they can come in person because we put outside a return bin so that you don't have to come into the library. Now, we have also what we have introduced because of COVID was a book sanitizer. This is again when we also learned from others when we did visiting to other libraries internationally. We found out in Korea, they do have a book sanitizing machine. So we have those books over there just to give the assurance for our users that the books are safe, because there are research saying how long will the virus stay on paper, stay on steel, stay on your hands, stay on your clothing. So just to assure that the safety for our people, we introduced a book sanitizing machine. I didn't have the picture inside here, but every time when the book come in the peak of COVID, we quarantined the book for 2 weeks and then have the sanitizing and then put them on the shelf. And when the users want to have, we took pictures of this book has been sanitized for your safety. So that's the thing that we have to do and for the people. Now, again, we, as I said, we are also an archive, and we would like people to share with us their stories and then email us the stories, and this will be part of our recordings or part of our experiences of our our people. And these would be the things that people 10-15 years down the line will be going back and researching on what happened, what did you do, what did you experience when COVID happens. Okay. And as I mentioned just now, as part of our International Council on Archives, International Archive Day, we get people to share with us. And these are the things we put them. We have QR, as mentioned by John just now. This is something that you have to introduce to the libraries now, the use of QR code, Facebook and all that, and all the new technologies that can assist us. Now, as John put as a disclaimer, don't be disheartened if these things might cost you money, but in actual fact, it might not cost you that much. It's just a matter of using technology available out there. Now, what else? I mean, we offered our services to the state government. That's why you see the crest over there, the Sarawak State crest over there. Because the state government is also, the departments and all that are also being hampered by COVID. And we tell the state, let us do communication materials for the people. So we offered because we have a team of, our staff are also multi-skilled and they are multi-talented. They are illustrators and designers, and these are the young people who are very technology savvy, and they created these posters. And these posters are the one that we post for the government, not just on the Sarawak State website, but also on the government portal and being used by the TV station as well. So we have been providing content because we refer to authoritative resources on contents about COVID at that point of time. I've never sort of read so much about a thing when with the COVID, because we have to be working with my team and say, okay, this is the information you want to put into this. So these are the things that we provided as a library. It's not just about giving books and services, but we also created content like this. Like this is one of the things, like we have to also educate and give awareness about COVID so that people are aware and we ourselves become the frontliners. So these contents are on the daily basis. We created 2 to 5 posters on a daily basis for the community. Now, we went completely virtual and we are not in the office. We have to work from home. And that is almost something that I don't know how to describe how did we manage it. But thanks to Zoom, before that, we almost have not heard of Zoom. We have to install Zoom, and so much so that, and I must thank Zoom for allowing us that 40 minutes of, of free time. So if I open Zoom of 40 minutes, another of my colleagues have another 40 minutes. In between us, we share that 40 minutes until we can purchase the license for that, for Zoom. And we went on to Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, and we created a channel, Pustaka channel on YouTube. You can go there. And these are our addresses on the various communication platform on social media, because we just have to, and when we took up this, it's just like duck taking to water. We have to create this because our promise was, while the library is closed, you still have access to us. Besides just the website, for example, we use alternative social media platforms. And all of that since March, because the total closed down in Malaysia was the 18th of March. We set working on day 1 after the closure. But before that, we have been monitoring, and this is one thing about us librarians, we get information. We have been monitoring and how this is going to accumulate. And by the time there's a total close down for Malaysia, we were totally prepared in that sense. In fact, the library was closed before the announcement by the government. So as you can see, all our campuses contribute for this, and the postings that we did for this month under COVID was more than we did in four years pre-COVID. So it is just something that we have to adapt to. So, so you see on our channel and from our campuses and the general info that we put. So these are the postings that we did. And now, lo and behold, you see one thing that we learn when we go on using the media platform, the outreach is wider and more. So for example, we do have our makerspace as well. And when we have it on site, it is limited by the number of people who wants to come, when they can come, and is only limited by the day of the activity. But when we posted this online, you can see the views was 36,000. And this was being done and there were people who were sharing it and making it a wider access. So these are the things that we found out, hey, we might not need a physical library in due times to come. We never know. So the things that we learn from feedbacks, in constant feedback from the people, and for the fact that this is having online, it's not taken away, people can come in their own time. So just to share with you here, and as you can see, this is not something that we have to create. It is something that's there for us to use and take advantage of. So I'm just sharing with you the videos that we have. So use on this platform, we can put videos, pictures, even text, for example, beyond what we can do on our website. And on our channel, The next one, I mean, just to share with you, this is on YouTube. The next one that we find, you might say, oh, Sarawak, are you all totally internet connected? No, we are not. We have a lot, and this is when we find that there's a lot of gap in the internet connectivity in the state, because Sarawak is very mountainous and we still have a lot of forests and our population are very scattered. So the next thing that we are going is really on radio, because based on research, people listen more to radio now and they don't have to wait for Wi-Fi connectivity and all that. So we're going to have our own radio program on existing radio stations so that we have a wider outreach to our people. The other thing is, we have been creating this Pandai, just to let you know that we are part of the Sarawak State's digital economy initiative for Sarawak. And we insisted on the government to say that we have a role to play. So we told them that we have been giving people literacy on media, on internet, and how people have access to internet. And with that mandate, we become an organization that move media literacy for the whole state of Sarawak. And we have programs. And the Sarawak Multimedia Authority is the one that provides us with the funding with the program. Initially, we had these face-to-face. We have to go to places and go around roadshow throughout Sarawak, teaching people, in person. But we find out that, I mean, as adults, their learning capacity, they can only retain what, 10%, 20%. What if they want to go back to what they have told us? So we created an online learning platform. Lo and behold, just immediately after we launched this online, there was a lockdown. And this was the thing, and we have been promoting to people about this access, and that you can go on this website there with the link that I send you there, and you can be part of this learning in there, because we teach people how to go online, how do you use the government applications, how do you be using the finance technology that the government has introduced, basically an e-wallet, for example. How do you use the platform that the government have put as entrepreneurs to be part of the digital economy? And in this program, we have put in 5 modules inside there. And at the end of it, you would be able to have an online certificate to say that you have completed this. Now, the government have seen this. The next things, which I've not managed to put inside here, the government digital tourism modules, as they mandated Pustaka to create that, so that our tourist guides, our homestay owners, for example, know how to go about going to do online tourism. Because Sarawak is also a tourist spot, mainly on ecotourism. Our tourism industry is basically handicapped by COVID, and I suppose with everyone else. So this is what, as a library, now we are going beyond just our library services. Best practices. Now you will ask me, Rashida, how did you do that? Now, on the human resources part of it, we have to work from home. I don't know whether you're really working or baking a cake or having breakfast with your family or just sleeping at home. So, but I said, I just have to have trust in my staff, in my colleagues in doing this, because at the end of the day, all of us have to do this. So that is the first thing there, trust. And the other thing is on communicating with our colleagues through that first 40 minutes of each and all that, our objectives and the key results that we want to achieve for the day when we're doing this. And the communication tree, the communication between us has got to be really open. I told my colleagues, which even pre-COVID, my handphone is open 24 hours. You can contact me anytime if you need any kind of help, not just work, but help. So that communication tree has been also been relegated down to my other offices as well. So working from home, as you can see, while we're working from home, we produce so many posters, we produce contents, we produce online learning platforms. And what are the enablers? I have to from our board members to give subsidized internet connection, or the internet fees that my colleagues have to use. And these are because we have to use internet. We really have to depend on internet. So we being given subsidized internet fees, and we rent notebook for our staff who need them. It's not for everybody, but especially those critical ones. For example, our finance staff have to have link to the system because they have to make payments, they have to pay our salaries, they have to make things being paid so that things can go on. And we also allow work on rotation when we were allowed by the authorities. We do not, because we want to be part of the campaign so that it is not a, we want to break the COVID chain. So we get people to work on rotation basis. And if they choose to continue to work from home, we allow it because schools were closed. As you know, parents with children, they have to look after their children. We cannot send the children anywhere. So yeah, I hope I've made the 20 minutes. Puan Novi,
Yes.
thank you so much. I have questions and answers. Yeah.
Terima kasih Puan Rasida. Luar biasa ya Bapak Ibu ya. Kita sekarang jadi tambah yakin nih. Work from home jalan, tapi pekerjaan juga tetap jalan tentu saja ya. Jangan sampai kita work from home tapi malah masak-masak tadi ya. Ya, mungkin sebagian dari kita ada, tapi seperti Puan Rasida cerita tadi, kita harus tetap komitmen ya sama pekerjaan kita sebagai librarian ya. Ya, Bapak Ibu yang berbahagia, kita akan masuk kepada pembicara yang ketiga, yaitu Bapak Ida Fajar Prianto. Pak Ida tentu saja sudah siap ya, paling siap pertama kali tentu saja. Pak Ida? Ya, Pak Ida langsung screen share. Pak Ida boleh cek sound dulu Pak Ida. Beliau akan bicara tentang libraries and the future, librarians in the future. Ya. Pak Ida cek sound boleh?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much for Novi. First, would like to thank John for welcome for doing presentation here because it's been sometimes in March. John came to Indonesia. We're supposed to have presentations both in Malang and Yogyakarta, and both seminars were cancelled. And it was at the time when John was on the flight to Indonesia. That was so sad, you know. And then everybody was so afraid of COVID, the coming of COVID-19. So nobody wanted to see John. I feel sad at that time, you know. And then and I was so busy myself, but luckily John and I met in Yogyakarta, although for a while, and then John went back home without doing anything. I really really sorry with that what happened in March this year. And Rasida, thank you very much for the presentation here. Supposed to be in Jogja this year or last year, but we met last time was in Surabaya. That was the last time we met in Surabaya. Yeah, Surabaya and Rawan Setan, and the ghost Rawan.
Yeah, Rawan Setan. Yeah.
Yeah, Rawan Setan, the very pedas Rawan. But very pedas. Yeah. Luckily, I managed to see Rasida in Sarawak. I think I've been there several times. The first time was there in 2006, if I'm not mistaken. I went there with Safira in 2006, and then the latest was in 2017, I think. 17 or 18?
Yeah, 15.
Yeah,
15,
16. Yeah,
one
16.
of 15 or 18.
Yeah, about that.
Yeah. At the conference, yeah.
Conference, International Knowledge Conference. Yeah. So thank you for both for joining us in Gajah Mada And I will not speak a lot because actually I want to just to share what we do, what the academic libraries here are doing, and then also students' work. So that would be our my short presentation. But first, I would like to tell you about the pandemic that has caused the library closed temporarily, and it was so sad that we were confused with what to do because we didn't see the enemy at the time. Nobody see the enemy, and so we are confused what to do. So we just closed, and then we worked at home. And then actually what we do at home is, as Rasida mentioned, we just trust everybody. I myself sometimes do the work, but sometimes I do my own work at home. So just trust me, I do both. That's and but that is what is happening here. And then what we see is that the librarians in Indonesia, especially in Yogyakarta, they increase the caring awareness. So they collect money and then uh, do donation to some impacted people. So they go to one place to another, and then they share what they can do to help them. And then another is getting aware of health precautions. This is good for them to revive the tradition, in the old tradition, that they should wash their hands before entering the house. And now they practice this again. That was actually Japanese. In Java, we have that sort of cleaning ourselves before entering the house. Next is about librarians, that they have adjust their lives through work from home. Yes, true, because our children are at home, and especially those librarians having children, young children, they should take care of them. So this is hard, I can understand. This is hard, because they usually leave the children to teachers at school, but now they have to take care of them, and they can understand how hard is the work of the teachers. So they become teachers as well at home. So that is a good practice, good learning for librarians. Besides being a librarian, they also become teacher at home. And librarians looking for strategies for to work normally. So we do hold seminars, discussion workshop, and so on. How to open again our libraries. And one thing that we wonder is whether people actually read during the pandemic. Uh, I'm not so sure about that because we prefer talking to each other instead of reading a lot. So and also the libraries were closed. Um, but this is an example of what we do in Yogyakarta. So we share what we can do. We help the impacted persons. We go from door to door and help them. I feel glad that librarians here are aware of what is happening and how people have to fight against survival. And this is another example of those doing in, I think this one is in Sumatra. In Sumatra, Indonesia, they have activities with children doing like a bookmark. They practice doing bookmark in the library. So during the COVID, they open the library and then they do the bookmark production in the library. And this is, I think this is a good practice. And this is also another activities that is the librarians hold, and these activities working together, how to do things like batik, how to make batik for those who want to do or practice batik making. But I also interested in the way that librarians also practicing is that librarians, instead of working on the desk, they now have to practice how to make use of technology. So This is the picture of our alumni who practice to be an artist, telling, doing something like to do, how to, they record, the way to do something, And the other is the one from Makassar. They do what you call storytelling by they record the librarian doing storytelling and then publish in the social media, and this is also good practice. So that besides being a librarian in the library, they also practicing the how to be a storyteller, how to be an artist in front of the camera. That is wonderful, what we practice. Actually, we do a lot, We learned a lot during the pandemic about 7 or 8 months, the last 8-7 months. And this is from Surabaya, how to prepare the library reopening. I learned this as well, that everyone, after having seminars, having discussion about how to reopen, and they practice the reopening of the libraries. And so they design libraries, and so we feel that we have now changed the way we serve our users. But I'm also impressed before the COVID-19, before the COVID-19 came here in Jogja, we have students. I have an offer to design library, and then I encourage my students to design the library, and this is the result of students' work. So they work from morning to night because they only have about 7 to 10 days to redesign the bunker of an old building to be a library. So this is the result of their design. In Gajah Mada, in Library and Information Management, we have a course named Management of Design, Library Design, and then we try to practice what we learn in the campus, and they practice here. So this is the result of what the students do, and this is another picture of what they do so far. But hopefully the pandemic will be gone soon, and then we will have more projects on the library design. Actually, we have another project in Solo very soon, but I don't know whether we can do it or not, because Solo is also has a problem with COVID-19. So also the interaction between librarians and users. So work from home, whether they can do it well. So I asked some librarians whether they can do it well, but I'm sure that this is not not maximum. They cannot work maximally. They do work from home, but I think they also do the housework as well. Not only homework, work from home, but also housework. So 50-50. Students online, we have another problem is that not all our resources, digital resources, open access. So this is the problem that students cannot access. So delay in the serving them is the one we have to face. So the librarians also learn how to make use of the technology nowadays. We are forced to do so, and then learning how to cope with students' need of information online. And we also practice or learn how to promote resources using new technology and application. As you see in the US, as John mentioned, also in Sarawak, we have seen that they use technology, the application. So we also encourage our librarians to use new application as well. Instead of just discussing the software, we also need to discuss about the hardware the hardware that we may use in the library, especially in the post-COVID library services. And the future of Indonesian libraries, in my opinion, is that librarians will continue their learning activities for various technological advances and applications, and for new ways of how to interact with users and how to fulfill users' needs and expectations. And this will be no easy things to do, but we will see that our librarians will work harder, especially in terms of technology. And librarians need to find ways to interact with users in any way possible, day and night, especially because using online services, we do know whether this is day or night. We have to do so and serve them as fast as possible. And what I also notice is the contactless interaction. This is what we practice nowadays. And touchless technology will also be applied very soon. So that is a very short presentation from me. I think we will have question and answers very soon. Novi?
Ya, terima kasih Pak Ida, luar biasa ya Bapak Ibu sekalian, Bapak Ibu dan Mbak Mas semuanya yang berbahagia. Sepertinya kita memang sudah tidak bisa lagi nih menolak untuk buruan jadi YouTuber, ya. Kemudian untuk TikTokan, gitu ya. Untuk ada layanan podcast juga jadi vlogger gitu ya. Karena memang layanan yang harus kita laksanakan sekarang ya ini gitu. Ya dengan online kita tidak bisa lagi meminta mahasiswa ataupun pemustaka yang lainnya untuk datang ke perpustakaan karena memang tidak boleh lagi. Ya. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang berbahagia, kita masuk ke sesi berikutnya yaitu question and answer. Kita tinggal punya waktu sedikit nih karena kita akan selesai di jam 11. Jadi kita akan langsung masuk kepada question answer. Bapak Ibu bisa cek di dalam question answer-nya ya. Sebentar, saya cek dulu. Beberapa pertanyaan untuk Bapak John Hickok dan juga untuk Puan Rasida. Ya, enak ya kalau Bapak John Hickok. It's okay for you, John? Ya. From Raisa Fadelina, Universitas Muhammadiyah Yogyakarta. What kind of service that's suitable for library school during this pandemic?
Right.
That's
so,
your first question.
Yeah, actually, I think to help you because of the audio and because of English, I went ahead and typed some answers. I'm going to do the share screen again here. So I will answer the questions written as well. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so we'll start with this one right here. And so the question that the question you wrote is, what are some services that are suitable for library schools during this pandemic? Okay, my answer is, so look, schools are disrupted the same as libraries. So in-person use of libraries as a part of LIS training is not available. So LIS schools and LIS students should adopt the philosophy, when life gives you lemons, make lemonade. So that is, what I mean is, during this quarantine time, you should use this quarantine time to make lemonade. You should be becoming experts. So all LIS instructors should be using this as an opportunity to become experts in virtual reference, for LIS students to become experts in making Springer LibGuides. You should be using this opportunity to be recording YouTube videos, training video on how to teach users how to use databases, or how to teach users how to use catalogs. You should be learning how to make web pages. Now, I'm not a hardcore programmer. I don't know C++. I don't know, those things, but I do know some basics of JavaScript or HTML. So LIS students should be learning some basics of that. You know, like I said, this pandemic has given us lemons, sour lemons, but we can be making lemonade by doing all of these things. So that would be my answer to that question. Let's go to the next one. So this is a two-part question, Mr. John Hickok. During this pandemic, do libraries in US and Asia, as well as best practices in libraries that you've mentioned, impose very strict social distancing and physically close library? And also, what do you think is the appropriate library services to serve non-technologically literate? Okay, so the first answer to the blue question is yes. My state of California, is one of the most severe COVID locations in the whole world. New York and California are the worst. And it's so strange because you think of the United States as the most advanced, one of the most advanced countries in the earth, but we are also having the worst time with COVID. There's thousands of new cases just this week in California. So yes, there's very strict new government restrictions are now in place in California. So no in-person library use, mandatory masks for everywhere in public. There's also, whoops, sorry about that, I've got to go back here. No public gatherings. And also restaurants. Restaurants have all been shut down now, except only for outdoor eating. So if you go to a restaurant, if they have a cafe, a patio outside, then that's allowed. The restaurant can come and serve you, but no indoor restaurant at all. It's prohibited. It's gotten very strict, and it's also very hard on the economy because so many people, their jobs. Now, for the second half, the red question about non-technologically literate, I want to defer that question to Dr. Rashida because she, working in a state public library, has a lot more of the general public that is not technologically. I'm an academic librarian, so I mostly deal with students who are already technologically savvy. So Dr. Rashida, would you please answer that question?
Oh. In this case, for us, and I agree with John there, especially people coming into the library, and this is the public library, we have, as I mentioned, we have to close, and when we were reopened, we have to put on special social distancing, and also all the SOPs, the standard operating procedures for when you come into the library, what you have to do, you must wear a mask, or else we'll be being given the authority to not accept people to come into the library if they do not have masks. But then again, we say, hey, people want to come, sometimes they forget. So, but what we do is we prepare masks on the counter so that people are using masks every time they are inside the library. And then in terms of, I mentioned about the books just now. Now those are the physical ones that when the people come to the library. But now we are looking into the people who have to swim in terms of using technology so that they have services, not just library services. So that's where we will be mandated, as mentioned, I shared with you just now, when we created that online learning platform for our people so that they know. I think when we prepare the people for the digital economy, we were already providing a base for people to be prepared for COVID actually. So and the taking the learning on the modules for online. Just to share with you, when we first introduced the online learning platform for our program Pandey just now, when we did it face to face, it was the number of people that we can do the program is depending on, say for example, if we go to this one village, it can only host about 20 people. So there's a number of 20 people. And throughout the 12 months we're presenting that program, face-to-face programs, we only have about 4,000 people already into it. We train the trainers, expecting that those trainers will be training the people down on the ground. But when we put it online, from March till about July, we had 2,000 participants online going onto our online platform. So you can see that it is quite effective. We don't have to go there in person, and we also have like a chat box where if they don't understand anything, we have our facilitators, our trainers there that can easily answer their questions. So in terms of the non-technological, that's our approach, and the consistent sending out of posters and questions, and we use our WhatsApp group for members as well as SMS, going back to good old days of short messaging services to send people of, how are you today, even sending how are you today, because sometimes some of those people do not have WhatsApp. So that's how we kind of, as John was saying just now, we just have to be making lemonades in the situation that we have at the moment. I hope that answers the question.
Thank you. Yeah, you have another one coming up, but I'll go ahead and I'll finish my last one and then we'll go back to yours. Okay, we have one more for me. Here it is. Okay.
So you have one question from.
Sure. Okay, here we go. So let's get to it. Okay, and the last one is to Mr. John Hickok. From the library examples of the 7 best practices that you described, I have not seen examples of best practices library services in Indonesia that are special to you. Is the library services in Indonesia still normal or what? My answer is, oh, no. I certainly did not exclude Indonesian examples because there's no best practices in Indonesia. No, not at all. There's many fantastic best practices in Indonesia. But in only 25 minutes, I wanted to show you different examples outside of Indonesia that maybe you aren't already familiar with. I mean, I could just go on and on and on about wonderful examples from Indonesia. I took a tour of Gadjah Mada UGM's library, and I saw some amazing, wonderful things there in my tour. Ms. Yuki, director of the library at UI in Jakarta, they are doing some amazing things at UI there. And also your beautiful new National Library in Jakarta is amazing. So many things. And one of the best practices that Indonesia is doing, and I hope it's, well, maybe not now because of pandemic, but before the pandemic, the Pustaling, the mobile buses that were taking e-services around the different parts of Jakarta. I don't know if that was still going on before the pandemic, but that was a fantastic best practice that was happening in Indonesia. So yes, there's many, but I only had 25 minutes. Okay, so I'll go back to Dr.
John, actually there are two questions for you.
Okay.
Yes. Which media that most effective for the library promotion in this pandemic? And then the second question is, what kind of librarian competency that deal with the library promotion? This question also for Ms. Rasi.
Let's go back to the first question. What type of media?
Which media that most effective for library promotion in this pandemic?
Okay, which type of media is the most effective?
Yes.
Okay, well, you need to know your audience, okay? If you are an academic librarian, who is your audience? Your audience is Generation Z, the millennials, the kids. Now, what kind of media do kids use today? They use their cell phones constantly. Practically babies are born with a cell phone coming out of the womb nowadays, right? Every college student has cell phones now. So what kind of media is going to be the most effective for that demographic or that user group? It's going to be videos, YouTube videos. The library has to have a YouTube channel. You have to be on social media. You have to have library Facebook and Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok accounts. If you don't, if the library is not involved, then you're going to be missing thousands of users and outreaching to them. Now, what about a public library that has working professionals or maybe retired senior citizens? Are they on TikTok? Well, maybe, but maybe not. So the kind of outreach that you want to do for them is going to be different. What kind of media are they going to be using? Do they still like to read newspapers? So then maybe physical, tangible newsletters, a newsletter that the library could print and give them. So the answer to the question is it depends on what your user group is. Okay, now what was the second question?
What kind of librarian competency to deal with this library promotion? What kind of librarian competency?
Oh, what kind of library competencies? Okay, well, this goes back to my earlier comment about the library science students making lemonade from lemons. The competencies for promotion is all of those kinds of new technologies that you should be using during this pandemic time. You know, it'd be so easy for us to say, I can't go to the library, so I'm just going to sit at home and I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to just watch TV and be bored. Wrong answer. There's so much training, self-training and self-learning we all can be doing, whether it's learning Zoom, whether it's training yourself on how to make YouTube videos, whether it's becoming more familiar with TikTok and Instagram and Snapchat. There's all of these are what we can be doing. So those are the kind of competencies for, at least for the young generation outreach. Okay, for rural communities, for children, for senior citizens, those are different. You have to adapt it for your user groups. I know I'm speaking to Dr. Rasidi because I saw her smiling. As a director of a state public library, she knows even better than me about how you have to have different kinds of outreach for different kinds of user groups. So I'm going to turn it back to her and let her comment on that.
Ya, silahkan Puan Rasida. Ini pertanyaan juga untuk Puan ya, silahkan. Jadi kompetensi seperti apa yang harus dibutuhkan oleh pustaka? Jadi dua pertanyaan itu.
I think John have answered. Okay. I'm talking about the question what is the most effective for I'm talking about Sarawak and Malaysia as a whole. Besides those that what John mentioned just now, the different segments of the society and the different users and the different generation of the users. But in Sarawak, as I mentioned earlier, we still depend a lot on radio. Because as I mentioned that internet connectivity is not a ubiquitous thing in Sarawak because of the way the state is being laid out. It's so big and it's so vast and the people are populated in a very, disparated places. So we use radio. At the moment we're using the existing sort of when we invite ourselves on the radio talk and then and present things on video literacy and all that. But the next thing that we want to do is a program, the library program itself, a consistent one. And that's the one. Competency for librarians, they have to understand public relations and marketing. And as John has answered just now, you have to segment the target groups that you have to for the activities that you want. In our case, for example, anything that you do with the teenage, we use a lot more channels for us to put in through, and for the children as well. But for the adults, especially those who are they use technology, but sometimes they still prefer to the things like between a Kindle and a book. those who choose the book, there's a type of people that you might have to do a different way of addressing. And this group of people still likes that face-to-face interaction. We do have a unit that we call community engagement, where we have a team that goes down to these people and they like face-to-face. And especially for those people that's not technology savvy. I have one at home. My dad refused to use the smartphone. He still wants to see those phone with the alphabets on them. So I have a test bed there. Now, I hope I answered the question there, and I like what John answers as well, and that's the way we have to go through. We, how should I say, in terms of marketing, we have a marketing team, and these are librarians, and these are not marketing specialists, or these are librarians, but we do need to read a lot. And if I may recommend, the American Library Association produced a lot of publications on how do you promote, how do you sell your services and all that. Please go to their website, and there's some free books there, but some of them you still need to buy. But American Library Association, I can say they are very kind. Send them an email. Sometimes they give you packets of materials that you can have for free. It's about reading and reading and reading, refreshing yourself. The question on from Saudara Wahid. Yeah, Wahid.
Yes.
What is my biggest challenge in synergizing library service programs where we work, and especially those related to lifelong learning activities? It's a very good question. And environmental conservation activities. Now, what is my biggest challenge? Still a number of people still do not know how to read. That is my biggest challenge. When we have another program, because the program, again, like what John said, we segment our programs. So one of the programs which we segmented for mothers with young children or young babies, what we call reading seeds, where we give a kit, a box, really is a kit on how to start reading to your baby as young as possible. And this program is for mothers who have babies from 0 to 36 months. When we went down on the ground, when we were promoting and advocating this program, we have mothers who come. Puan, saya tak tahu membaca. Bang, how do we get them to read to their child if they themselves do not know how to read? It's heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking. So much so now, we are benchmarking this UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning. You can go and Google and learn from what they're doing. This is very good. So we have to do a program for adult literacy. Now, adult literacy programs have been introduced in Sarawak since the early 60s. As a young girl, I remember my aunties going to these classes because they did not have the opportunity for formal education. Now we are retracing back that, and now we're working with the education department. We're going to university who have these literacy programs, and we are benchmarking a lot with the UNESCO Institute of Lifelong Learning. And we're looking at cases and examples where there are other countries that have this program for those people who still do not know how to read. So, like designing a program for mothers to read to the babies, to designing a program for adults to be able to read. Now, imagine that for those people who do not know how to read in this technology age, where everything is on a device. Your rights, your application to universities, for example. I mean, Sarawak, I would say Sarawak is being disadvantaged in that because the application for public universities in Malaysia is online. How do you expect the people in the village who do not have internet connectivity to apply to universities? That is something that I am really advocating for, internet connectivity to be a ubiquitous thing in Sarawak. So much so we do have libraries which are already equipped with VSAT, a very small aperture terminal, the internet connectivity going through the dish to the satellites. So that's one of the things that we do. So that is our challenge, major challenge. I mean, we just imagine not knowing how to read. Now, in terms of other lifelong learning, for example, we have to target those university students who come without any job. How do they apply to the job market? For example, we have to unlearn and relearn civil service who have not been exposed to technology, for example, and how can they be part of the civil service so that they are at ease to use email, at ease to use all the new platforms that is available. In terms of the conservation just now, environmental conservation, before COVID, pre-COVID, that lifelong learning, we work together. We do have a department. We would talk about forestry, for example. We work with the Sarawak Forestry Corporation. We work with the national, the state NREB, Natural and Resources and Environmental Board. We work with the Sarawak Biodiversity Council, SBC, Sarawak Biodiversity Council, amongst the organization that we collaborate with. The library cannot do everything and on all of this. Like the Sarawak Biodiversity Council, they focus on preserving the rich biodiversity of Sarawak. So we get publications from them. And for your information, Pustaka also act as a legal deposit center for Sarawak. Anything and everything published for the masses, they have to give us. So when we receive those things from them, we have to promote. And you can see on our website, we promote and we do reviews of all this so that people get excited to read this. So it is a lifelong learning thing. It is a continuous thing. And we have to be very, very creative in ensuring that the people will have the literacy, the motivation to continue to learn, unlearn, and relearn. Because even though you finish school, when you go into the work area, there are something more for you to learn. For example, when you are in your mid-career, new things coming in, like the digital economy, for example. We have to unlearn again and be part of it. Like John was saying, we have to know programming. I'm not a programmer. I am an ardent user of technology. But when I tell the technology people, this is what we want it to be, they are the one who will be programming it for us. So it is a continuous lifelong learning, not just to our customers, but we ourselves in the library work have to be continuously learning as well. I hope that answers the question.
Terima kasih sekali Puan Rasida. Luar biasa ya Bapak Ibu sekalian ya. Semangat kita langsung membara, saya yakin ya. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang berbahagia, kita sudah sampai di penghujung waktu ya, sudah jam 11 tepat saat ini. Very fruitful discussion, interesting, amazing and enlightening. Thank you very much for John Hiko, Puan Rasida, and also Pak Ida Fajar. Luar biasa, terima kasih juga untuk partisipan semua. Kami harap seminar ini akan memberikan pencerahan yang luar biasa untuk kita dan juga untuk dunia perpustakaan. Ya. Bapak Ibu hadirin yang berbahagia, banyak hal yang sudah kita pelajari hari ini, 2 jam ini, dan luar biasa sekali. Pak John Hickok juga sudah berbagi free public library marketing resources yang tadi juga sudah disampaikan oleh Ibu Rasidah yang dari ALA ya, sudah ada di dalam Zoom chat roomnya. Kemudian link presensi juga ada di situ, silahkan Bapak Ibu bisa presensi dari sana, dan juga ada lembar evaluasi. Kami harapkan diisi lembar evaluasi agar pelaksanaan MIP Seminar Public Series berikutnya akan lebih baik lagi. Ya. Sekali lagi Bapak Ibu sekalian, kita beri aplaus yang luar biasa untuk Bapak John Hickok, Ibu Rasida, dan juga Bapak Ida Prianto. Terima kasih atas kebersamaan yang luar biasa hari ini. Kami mohon maaf apabila ada kesalahan. Terima kasih sekali lagi. Keep safe and healthy. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Would like to
Thank you,
thank,
everyone.
thank you, John and Rasida, for coming to our
Thank you,
webinar.
Ida.
Yeah,
Thank you, Ida.
Thank you.
thank you. Thank you very much, and
you.
hope to see you again.
Inshallah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi
Yes.
wabarakatuh.
Hope to be in Indonesia this year, next year,
Yeah,
soon.
next year.
We wait for you, John. Indonesia, John.
Thank you very much ya. Terima kasih teman-teman MIP panitia luar biasa. Terima kasih
Terima kasih
untuk
Mbak
semua
Novi.
peserta.
Sukses ya.
Sama-sama.